You might want to step 2 steps back because my leap can be something too. Yeah, don't just be this far. Be this far and a little bit more because I might jump. But on top of all of that, your body is in the middle of change. Your oh, I don't know about y'all, but just remembering the most simplest of things. See, we used to pick at our parents when they were going through this. We didn't understand. I used to tell my mama, you just tripping. It can't be that bad. She all in the refrigerator with the door open, the freezer open, standing up in the freezer. Come on, ma, you just so dramatic. Now I want to stand next to her. Can you slide over so we both can stand in this in this freezer? So, Father, we thank you this morning. We truly do. But this is the thing about what we deal with on a regular basis as women. It don't go anywhere. And I don't think that the Father is offended of our recognition of what we are facing. I think what we need to gravitate to or embrace is in the middle of what we're going through, we still look to him. I could go back to my song. We give you, see, and all of that, you know, we still lift our hands and say, we give you all the glory. We worship you. We still give you praise. We give you honor. And this is I think the beauty in women is that we do have that ability to, in the face of whatever we are going through, whatever we're facing, we still have that place in even in our emotions to get there with Father. And so I'm grateful for that. I'm thankful for that. Thank you, Mo. He's got our thing. I think we're the empowerment, so maybe we ought to get to empowering. Am I empowering a little bit? The men of forge they don't record theirs, so just so that our WCT has something recording. It's us, y'all. So with that being said, did you all watch the video that I sent to you all? Really? I did. I sent it out in an email because I wanted you all to. Yeah, I wanted you all to. It's too big to send in any other way, I don't think. So I had to send it via. I think it's via email. Did I send email or text message? You did. You got a messenger. Okay. Well, I, s- I sent you a message. Okay, so it might have been a message. I might have just forwarded it. It's in its entirety to you all in Messenger. Um, but it in line of what we have been talking with in the face of sorting out our relationships with our fathers. It kind of goes in hand in what I'm talking about now, as far as we as women and what we all have on our plates and have to deal with and have to sort through. And some of our plates that have been made for us, that's just our plate. It's just you can't even change it. It's like if you go someplace and you get a meal and it's set before you, this your plate. You don't get to change it out. I thought about this morning about your grandfather, my father, and all the regret of not having um, the conversation, only to have to see his corpse in a coffin, and then wanting to not even talk about the craziness, but to just want to hear his voice and talk about good. or what could have been good, and so I'm out, and this being Father's Day, I'm just going to caution to anyone who has their father, I still got their dad. Yeah, regret. Anybody can relate to the regret. They weren't they in the natural, they weren't there. In the natural, my father was not there. In the natural, he was so com- discombobulated in his own mind, um and so broken in his own life that the capacity for 7 kids was, I think, way over his head. And we were just too young and immature to recognize his plight and his struggle. And my grandmother, his mother, was his world. And so when she died, although he had 7 kids and a wife, he felt hopeless without her, which left us fending for ourselves, so to speak. And I was talking to my baby brother Eric on the phone, and I'm a little teary about it because it's a sad thought. But when my grandmother died, my father, like, he was a mama's boy, and when she died, it wasn't expected. Um, Care for African Americans during that time was horrible, and I don't know if she could have been saved, but all I know is that she was only 63 years old, and she wasn't expected to die, but she passed away. Went to the hospital, never came home. For a long time, I was n- 10, I think, maybe, and because she went to the hospital, for me, I'm constantly waiting for her to come home. My father, when the news came that she had passed away, he crumbled. He crumbled. That was it. He stood flat foot and said to his family, we were all standing there, "I'm going to drink myself to death." And he attempted to do just that. He drank and drank and drank, and that's all I ever saw. Uh, my father, before my grandmother passed away, was a social drinker. He worked Monday through Friday. Saturday he had his drink. Sunday chilled out, and Monday go back and start all over again. So Saturday was his day of partying, having a drink. And I think before my grandmother died, I think I only saw him where I could tell he was intoxicated once, maybe. But after that, I can't remember when he wasn't. It's complicated, right? So with my father being devastated, we were at the funeral. It's the second time. This is the first time I seen my grandmother. s- Like, she went to the hospital. The next time I saw her, she was in a coffin. Like 3 weeks later, because how black folk, we take a while to get things done. So 3 weeks later, now we're at the funeral, and I see her. Now, she's not just his world; she's my world. She was our family saving grace. So I get to the funeral and I see her nose up on the top of that's all I could see because I'm short. I'm trying to see if I got any jokes. Okay, yeah, I was shorter, and so I I get to the coffin, and this is the woman that's my everything. She's in this coffin. I don't know what death is. We don't know what death is because my mom and my dad turned to each other, and we were left. We didn't have anyone to comfort us about death and about our grandmother. And so my father was crumbled up in a ball, turned over, fetal position on the front row of my grandmother's funeral. And when I left that coffin, I was actually holding on to the coffin, and I was like, I want her to take me with her. Take me with you. I don't want to be separated from you anymore. So it's been 3 weeks, and I held onto the coffin. But when they ushered us away, the directors, I ran to my parents, which my father was a crumbled mess, and my mother was comforting him, and there was no room for us 7 kids. We were just ushered away. I don't know. We got to do better with that at the funeral directors. We got somehow or another. That's got to be done better. Because I thought about that. I said, "Now we're not even considering the pain of these children sometimes at funerals and things like that. That's sidebar." But with my father, he, we talked about it, but I believe my father was immature in marriage, immature in rearing children. He had 7 of them, but his lifestyle was lived as if he was a single man that had some place to go at night that happened to have kids. So we suffered at the lack of being considered as children. I know Miss Jackie sitting there like, what? I know. I know we all, and that's the contrasting part that makes things interesting for us as people, because we have people who don't understand what I'm talking about from their father. And then I have people who have a worse story than me, where their father was victimizing them in ways that was unthinkable. His was neglect. Now, as he got older and we became adults, um, he saw, like what we see now. Hindsight is 2020. He can look back and see now that the value of his children. And now he wants this relationship with us that we don't even know how to foster. We don't even know how to be father and daughter. You ever been in a conversation with somebody and it was awkward? With my father, I don't know what to say. They used to call me little mama. Little mama, when you coming home? I, I don't know when I'm coming home. And then when I show up, he wants father daughter interaction, but we don't have a foundation. So you have to try to build surface stuff with the man who has the same DNA as you. Is this not weird? Am I speaking to anybody who might relate to what I'm saying? Don't let me talk by myself. So with that being said, grab a mic because I definitely want that on mic. With that being said, um, to let you know how distant we were from our father when it comes down to relationship, I called my father by his first name until I was 30 something years old. Like Eddie. Eddie was my father, and Eddie was what we called him. And we were instructed to call him that because daddy is not on his birth certificate. Yeah. Don't let your face pick it up over there. But this is the thing, is that for him, his mindset at the time when we were coming along, he was a man in his 20s that was not interested in a wife or children. It was circumstance that had him where he was. So we probably was cramping his style a little bit with daddy. You got a man that want to be out there. Then yeah, you got to take 3 of them to the store for some reason. So he out macking. Can't mac with 3 kids behind you talking about daddy. But if you call me Eddie, I can explain that away. Why these 3 kids? They ain't even got to be his. It's my brother's kids, or, something like that. So for whatever reason, I know, he's sorry, y'all. Uh, but for whatever reason, we had to call him Eddie, and so I learned that that was inappropriate. I was a grown woman from my pastor then, now my husband. He taught me. He says you should not call your father by his first name like that. And I was like, what? It's strange to me. Like, what? What is wrong with that? And so he taught me that it was a place of dishonor. And so the most I could get, I could never call him dad, and I could never call him. Uh, I can give him his title. This is my father, but I couldn't call him that, and I couldn't call him dad or daddy. So the best we can get, that West I can get to, closest I can get to, was Pop. Hey, Pop. And so I could tell at the time that I saw him, when he was fun getting to his end, that he had so much regret and so much. I wish I had a done something different than what I did. Um, but not knowing how to lay that groundwork. And this is what is important now, that we help our daughters, people around us who still have their fathers. I would say to anybody, just from my seat, there is no conversation that's not worth having, because once he's gone, you can't have it. And most of the time, we walk out of fear of rejection or denial or whatever it is, that we don't have the conversations. Um, for me, my conversation, I think, would have been with him is that I understand. I understand why you did what you did. I understand why you were the way you were, because I'm grown and I can see another picture. I can see another perspective. And although it didn't help us, I just know me. I think I just would have let him off the hook. Just would have been like, it's okay. I get grown folk. Come on, me. You wanted to say something.
I was just gonna say thank you for sharing your, just being candid with us, like sharing your story. I think that well, I can't speak for everybody, but sometimes we just think that, well, I just think like mom just know it all, like you just arrived, right? And not understanding that it has been some, yeah, some hard knockdown
Yeah.
things that you've been through.
Yeah.
And the humor wasn't necessarily at the situation. It was just like, you get it now. It took you actually get it. Um and Father's Day, I was a daddy's girl, but Father's Day for me this year was, I had a just a yearning for my dad to protect me from the situation I'm going through. It would be so much that I would not have to figure out. I'll probably have to get up some bun money, but um, just just wanting that,
Eddie.
what he would,
Oh,
yeah, what he would be, and just realizing that even though he had an addiction, that even though he had an addiction that in his earlier years didn't, you know, wasn't good for his family, him or his family. At the end, um, once he got clean and stuff like that, um, I just miss that. There wasn't a need that financially that he wasn't gonna do for his kids and grandkids. And I just, this week I was just like, "Ooh, I really," and like things like this, even with the, when we talk about the daughters and how we've been made to feel um, in relationships and stuff like that, it just makes me want to make sure that my part with my boys, because at like you were saying about your dad and his mom, the relationship or whatever, um, it's it's two parents, and a lot of times I think we just, we can be bashing the men or whatever, and a lot of times it's what they learn and not necessarily from their dad.
Well, I'll tell you this about my father. Someone bothering us was not the issue ever. Like regardless of
Mm-mm.
what he wasn't, he was a protector. His expression of love was that
Yeah.
he would put somebody in the ground about us. That was his. That's how you knew you were loved, because he'll put hands and feet. So it was like that was not the issue ever. I never felt afraid when I was with my father. He was that kind of guy. Um, he was the guy when he showed up anywhere. He was, hey, Eddie's here now. Okay, we can get it kicked off now. It's Eddie's here. But so I never felt that he had this thing where he had a razor. He kept a razor, and so sometimes his friends would like weirdly. I thought it was weird then. It's still weird, but they would, man, you got some beautiful daughters. Man, I'll cut you. He'd go in his pocket and start looking for it. Man, I'll cut you. Did you say nothing about my daughter? So that was just like like a thing. And for some reason, that made me feel like my dad loved me. This person's making whatever reference they were making to us, and he didn't appreciate it, and he would say, I'm going to deal with it. So this is what some of the uh the signs of love that we had, like Mitris said, well, if my dad was here, I would feel protected. And that's kind of I knew that he had my back as well. He physically would put hands on somebody about his daughters. And I think what my baby brother Eric, he makes that reference to this day, that our dad gave the boys in our family the assignment, take care of these girls. That was their assignment, no matter where we were going, what we were doing. Y'all take care of them girls. Don't let nothing happen to them girls. And to this day, I mean, my brother Eric, he's the baby of the family, but he's the one that will come and put hands and feet. And so we can't tell him some things because then he might show up someplace. I kept my whole first marriage dilemmas to myself as long as I could, and because of that reason, because he was that. I'm gonna say that he was that guy. I don't know. He still might be, but I'm not gonna tell your business, Eric. But he was that guy. He inherited that from my father about taking care of the family in the physical way. Anybody else got something else before we uh come on, get a mic, because I this is Father's Day, but this is this I think the stuff that we need to talk about, because no matter what dad was or did or whatever, us women, we have that need for him. We have our need for our fathers, good, bad, or indifferent. We want that man in our life. We want his love, his approval, his support, his protection. We want everything about him. And when those missing pieces were there or are there, if they can be corrected, correct them. If they can't, speaking about it and understanding where dad may have been at the time that you weren't getting what you think you needed to get. I think those conversations need to have. They're very, for me, they are very cleansing. Yeah. You know,
Oh, I was going to say when I listened to the stories, and because I didn't I didn't grow up with those same things that was going on in our family, my heart hurts. It literally hurts when I. It took everything I had not to cry when you were talking, and even when Amitris was talking. I know, but it's like, how do I how do I relate to or even talk to someone that has experienced something that I have not, and but on the flip side, when I look at, here we had our father our entire life to now where he is now, I feel like we don't have him in a sense. And I think that's the most hurting part now, because you're seeing the blankness, and it's like, I want to go up and shake him and say, hey, yeah, I want to do that, but that's just how that's how I'm feeling, and I can only speak for myself, and I've been feeling like this, I think, from the onset when everything started happening. It's like, oh my God, I'm going from having my father all my life to now I feel like I'm losing him, and I don't know how to deal with that part. I think that's the hardest part to deal with. That I'm losing him right in front of me. And from the conversations to the hugs, I'm losing that right now. And I just don't know how to deal with that part. I don't I don't know. I don't know how to feel with that right now, because it's weird. It's weird. And I know this may not be the same, but that's how I'm feeling in my heart.
yeah.
To
I think it's still a little bit of the same.
Yeah,
I think yours is maybe a slower process of the
it
same
seems slow,
loss. Yeah.
but now it's like it's speeding. It's like time is just speeding forward. It's like it used to be every week it was something different, but now it's a daily thing. It's a daily thing, to where you could go over and just wrap your arms around. Now it's like, I don't not feel is so not physically seeing him
He's
as
not
much.
feeling a hug today.
He's not feeling the company from period.
Don't come over.
So it's a little hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I will say I still envy you all. I envy because sometimes my only way to be close to my father was to go with him to the bootlegger's house just to be with him. Or when he came in from being out all night and none drunk, eat, fall into bed, I'm going to pretend shave him just so I can touch him, or just lotion his feet, or just anything. I just want to touch him. So I, s- I just don't think there'll ever be a time when it'll be okay.
And I
My,
think that's why I call him all the time,
hmm
because I just need to hear his voice.
hmm
I need to hear him. And that means a lot to me, at this point, to hear his voice saying, "Hey, daughter."
yeah. If I could just have that just a day, there's a song that Luther Vandross wrote. Um, dance with my father again. I had not cried at my father's funeral when he passed away. When I heard the news, I had not had tears. At the funeral, I had not had tears. I went home, no tears. 15 years went by, and one day that song, I was listening to it, came on, and I crumbled in my bathroom on the floor and wept. I was home by myself, and I just cried. I just felt the loss of my father. 15 years after the fact, 15 years after the fact, I felt the weight of not having a relationship with my father the way I wanted it, the way I needed it, the way and now the realization of and that's it. Cuz now it's just a hurt because you're not going to get the chance. And so I would just if I could give y'all any advice, absorb as much as you can because when that day, Lord forbid, if the day comes, it'll never be enough. If God said, I'll give you 200 more years, 201 is going to be a terrible. It's going to be, it's never going to be enough. I think that that's what love is for a person. The time is never enough. There's like never enough time to finally say goodbye. Like, how much time is that? It's never enough. So we'll, come on, Tammy.
I just wanted to add to that, when you've seen your father up and vibrant and, doing this and doing that, and then when you see him just slowly just breaking down, before your eyes, it's a hard thing. And like yesterday, it really hit me hard yesterday because we had decided, me and Andrea and my grandkids, we decided to, just stop by and wish him a happy Father's Day because we know on Sundays when he comes in from church, he takes a nap and, that's his day right there. So, we called beforehand just to see where he was. And right before we was getting ready to go over, he called and he said, well, I heard that y'all was going to come by and blah, 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 blah. And I said, yeah, Dad, we was going to come by, but we weren't going to stay long. Just, drop off a little something and what have you. He said, well, no, no, I'm not feeling it. And right then it just hit me in the pit of my stomach. And I was like, oh, Dad, are you okay? He said, yeah, I'm okay. I'm just not, don't want no company. I said, well, can we bring you something over to eat? No, no, no. I don't want nothing. He said, I'm sorry, but I'm just not feeling it. And just to hear, no, I don't want you to come over. Oh, that just did something to me. It just tore me up on the inside. And I had to find myself in a place to say, well, okay, this is where he is now. This is the reality. Sometimes he has good days and sometimes he has bad days, but to know that at one point where you could just call and just go over there, at the drop of a dime, and now we don't have that, is hard. It's kind of hard now. And even though today is Father's Day, I'm still going to go by there, drop off what I was going to drop off, take him something to eat, but I'm not going to linger. I'm just going to give it to his wife. And I'm just going to, you know, go on about my business. But yeah, that hit me hard yesterday. That was really hard. That was really hard to accept. Yeah. Hmm.
Your father, the time that I have known him, has always been very attentive to you all. Uh, and he was able to spread that to other people too. Like, uh, yeah. And so I can only imagine, what you all are feeling in is the absence that you're feeling. And I can only imagine what you all are feeling to have his physical presence, but absent is still there because his mental capacity is not there anymore. So we'll just be praying for y'all. But I would say enjoy as much whatever he allows you to have. Enjoy as much of it as you can, because that the day that you're not able to have even the physical, it's gonna be just a lot, a lot. And so I love y'all. Come here, mother. Come on. Get a mic for her, please. Yes, get mother a mic.
Yeah, about their father. You know, their father is so well known that he would never be forgotten. You know, if you speak of their father, oh yeah, he was ranger guy, he was this and he was that. So he will never, ever be forgotten, and I won't forget him either.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen. Um, and I think the hard part is the memories are awesome, and sometimes that's all we have because that's all I have. That's all you have. We just have memories. Some of us all we have is memories, but those memories um are the treasure are the treasures from, like, if you go on a vacation, you get a souvenir. That's what memories are. Memories are those things that we get to hold dear from an experience that we've had. And so I would say create as many souvenirs as you can because it's never going to be enough. I would think I was scrolling on my phone, and sometimes those memory things come up, and here comes a picture of my father because I posted around this time, and it sometimes it can just bring a laughter, a little chuckle, and then sometimes it can just bring tears of sadness. And I would just say to all of those who have their natural fathers still in whatever capacity, because it don't have to be DNA father. Sometimes our fathers, they come in different forms. But if you have your biological father, I would say to you, if you can, if he's a person that you can communicate with. I ain't gonna say everybody's there because some folk you just can't talk to them. Period. No kinds of way. But if it's just things that you didn't appreciate about him, then I'm gonna tell you the day he's not there, it won't matter. Get on with them souvenir gathering. Try to do those things, build those bridges. Uh, don't let things stay relevant that when he's gone won't be relevant to you. We know that hurt, right? Holding grudges, anger, fights, reminiscing on the things that if he was here now, you had a 24-hour time you could have when you wouldn't even bring up. Because the one thing I've noticed about since I've been an adult about my father is perspective, seeing him from an adult place and not looking at him as from a child's perspective, but understanding him from a 63-year-old woman. I get it, Dad. I get it. I get it. Now I probably wouldn't let you did what you did, but I get it. I I I understand at the time, um, and y'all know I'm gonna take y'all back a little bit, give you a little history class. Back in the day, grown men couldn't mess with little girls. They consider that statutory. Go to jail for that. They don't do that like that. They do now. That now, girls get to just get impregnated by whoever they want to get impregnated by, and it's all good. But back then, you had to marry folk, stay out of jail, and that was my mom and dad. So it was not a love relationship that brought them together. It was circumstances. And when there's a lack of love, you can see the pattern. And that's why I can understand him now. Because marrying doesn't make love. It's a contract. It becomes, this is just a situation. And so with that lack of love, whenever there's a lack of love, you can see it. It's just this what it is. So, but on top of that, Mama was fine. She was cute. She had hips and long hair. So he was attracted to her, but there was not a love relationship. It was circumstances. And so everything that was involved in that relationship to include children was a circumstance situation. But down the road, when you done been through the hard knocks with somebody and you done been, because I think they were married like 43 years when he passed away. Was it 43 or 46? 43. That's a long time. I thought it was 46. I might be wrong. 43. They got married in 59. He died in 05. 05. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a long time. Mm. 46. Okay. Yeah. Okay. For some reason, 46 kept rolling in my head because I kept thinking 4 years from 50. So 46 years married, good, the bad, and 7 kids, a miscarriage, couple of dogs. It's a long time. But in the middle of all of that, created 7 children. One miscarriage, I think, between Dina and Eric. Hmm. And so um, it's a long time. And then for us as 7 kids, built up a lot of resentment. But we all had to learn how to work out our anger. Our Some still haven't, maybe. I hope they have, but for me, it all just dissipated seeing him in that coffin. It's like, but it's nothing I can do about it, Mary. It was too late. Although I had forgiven him and moved on with not having to have explanation, we still didn't have this father and daughter bond that we would go and spend a lot of time together and create some souvenirs. Had not learned that yet. I learned that the hard way. Ain't got no fruit for it though. Anybody else? You want to say nothing, Nicole? You full? Come on, I want to hear. It's Father's Day. Grab it and sit down. Ain't no camera on you, no way.
Um, I'm. I don't know, Ma. I have a mix of emotions on Father's Day. Um, it wasn't until you made the statement um about it being. I don't want to. I'm gonna put it in my own words, like almost being too late. Um, you spent your childhood or your teenage years being upset, and then when you have that moment where you see your father in the casket, it hits you like a ton of bricks of the time you wasted, where you could have just made those memories. On the flip side, I have a father figure who's ever present. So for me, it's just kind of bittersweet.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have both of those today.
Um, so a part of me is sad and like in full agreement of those wasted times of not stacking up those memories and stacking up those um, moments more than I could, more than I should, more than I was doing. Um, and even having conversations with people or on the pulpit and having these statements and things that was coming from a daughter who was hurt, you know, it just throws all that back in your face. And I think this is something we've talked about since my daddy passed. Just my whole tone about him since the day he passed has been different. It's just I've said I get it. I totally get it. As an adult, when you don't have all of your things worked out, sometimes it flows over onto your children. So it's just kind of bittersweet today. And I didn't think it was going to bother me. I just been kind of quiet and chill today, and I really didn't put two and two together. But on my way here, I was like, oh, yeah, it's Father's Day. I got to get my daddy his card and his money because that's what he wants. That's what he wants.
Give him the card.
I can't give him a card with no money, so I got to get the card and the money. And I think at that moment, it was like it's Father's Day, and this year together, all together, was a little different
Yeah.
when it come down to the remembrance of Ferris Senior. Just
Can I ask a question for those who have had those times of regret with your father? At the time that you were, let me just say this. This is my honest moment here. I wanted him to hurt by me distancing myself from him when he was alive. Like he didn't want to me, he didn't want anything to do with me when I was a kid, and now I don't want anything to do with you. So I would come see him, but just like when I want to, if I want. Really come to see my mama, but you in the house too until he's not there. Instead of having the conversation with him, which I believe he would have him, he would have listened. He would have been crying a lot, but he would have listened. And I think that's one of my biggest regrets is that I was doing it for harm to hurt him. Anybody else? Come on.
Like Mitra said, and I tell you this all the time. I just appreciate your authenticity, and transparency. Um, and my heart goes out to Elder Eaton and Sister Tammy. Um, and I was just listening to what they said, and really just kind of hanging on to their every word. Um, I was young. I wasn't a kid when I lost my dad. I was 31, but still young. And with him at that time being my only parent, um, he was kind of my everything. I mean, I was a daddy's girl to the core. And my dad was the same. His love language, and I believed it. Hands, feet, knuckles, everything. Like, and he was like that from the time I was a little girl, all my teenage years. The things that he told a boy that came over to the house to date me, oh my gosh. Like, I mean, people feared my dad. He was a good guy, funny, had a sense of humor, but they felt like, Homer a little throwed off. He he'll mess you up.
He called him by his first name.
No, Homer a little throwed
Oh
off.
my God, something going on.
But I was sitting here thinking, and this just lets me know God makes no mistakes. He knows all, and He knows His children. And
Yes.
oftentimes, when I see my family members and classmates that are dealing with their parents that are now older and transitioning and health and stuff, on the decline. And in my mind, I'm saying, "Ooh, the Lord knew," because
Yeah.
that would at almost 49 years old, if I still had my parents, and of course, if they were here, I would have to deal with it.
Right.
But that would be rough for me right now.
Yeah.
And so I can honestly understand what Elder Eaton and Sister Tammy are saying, because with my dad leaving me, it was like the band-aid was ripped off, just ripped. Daddy was here. We were just on the phone about 15 minutes. All was well. We had a wonderful conversation, joking and everything.
Go.
Gone. My last memory is this. Brother Bettis. You want to kind of know what my dad looked like? Is Brother Bettis. And my dad was maybe about an inch and a half taller, um, muscular, same complexion. Um, he wore he kind of stuck in times. He went from a curl, he went from a Jerry curl to a high top fade. he, he had a box.
Don't talk about Homer like that.
He had a box. And then oh Lord, and then when it was time to get a haircut, he would just take all of it and comb it forward. Just comb it up and comb it forward. But
I'm not laughing with you.
but, and it takes Deacon Barry, because that's his uncle, to just
Talk about him.
yeah, we joke, my dad, he walked like the Wild Wild West, arms out, and just like he's finna go to a duel. And when he would stand, he always wore a big buckle, and when he would stand wide legged and hold on to his buckle. My dad was a character. He was a character. But as and what I'm doing right now, those souvenirs, such great memories. And basically what I'm saying is, even though it hurt immensely in 2008 to lose him, but just knowing who I am as a person and just how my brain processes,
Yeah.
I can relate wholeheartedly to what they're saying. Like I didn't watch him go from here to here. It's just he was here, and when I see him, I see that strong man, that humor.
Yeah.
It was just like that band-aid was ripped off.
Yeah.
And he was.
No explanation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forced into it's different when you have a slow process of a person that's ill, and you could and you know the inevitable. And then when it's just like you said, like a here today and just gone tomorrow type thing, it's I think it's a different process as well. Yeah. Come on, baby.
I'm gonna sit down too. I just wanted to say that I agree with Amitris and what she said and what you said, talked about a little bit. That I'm appreciative for these moments of where we are talking, because for me, growing up, um, my family's a type of like we don't talk about stuff. We just kind of like bury it, and that's what I kind of carry with me as an adult. Um, so I am appreciative of these conversations because it's encouraging, because it tells me that it's okay um, to be sad. It's okay to feel what you're feeling. Of course, not to live in it and stay in it too long. But when Free was talking, it made me think about my stepfather. For some reason, I just forgot, because my mom remarried after my dad and her divorce. She this guy, he was a really great guy. But because of what I was dealing with, it was really hard for me to fully receive him. So when he would give me a hug and different things, but he was very patient though, because he knew that me and my sisters, we've been through a lot. So when he passed, he got into a really bad accident when we were in Kuwait. Um, honestly, it really sucked because I felt like he was just a light to my mom and a light to us. But his passing really exposed a lot, though. But I was just thinking, I was like, God, like, how did I forget about him? And I was thinking is because like sometimes I don't want to deal with it because it's painful, so kind of hold it to myself. But since being here is it's helping me a lot to um, really deal with something. Free did a morning empowerment one time. I felt like it was life changing to me because just really like stepping back and really asking myself, why do I feel this way? Why am I responding this way? Why am I treating my husband this way? And even my daughter. Because I had to recognize that it's a generational thing because my mom and her mom didn't get along very well. Me and my mom don't get along very well. And I was like, Lord, I want this to stop with me. Me and Gabby will not have the same relationship that me and my mom have and what she had with her mom. So I just wanted to say that I'm really appreciative to this church because a lot of churches are not talking what we're talking about, just those family dynamics, those emotional things. Like for some reason I think people are afraid to. I don't get it. So I'm just really appreciative of these different things is because I just like when we can be more effective when we deal with those heart matters, and I'm just grateful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that with church sometimes we can just be just so religious. You know, we're I know at the end of the day, Christ is our all in all. Um, but at the end of the day, we are still very much in this body and have to deal with, like, he talks to us in the word about things that we have to deal with on a regular basis. He does. And so what we have got to learn is what we talked about this morning. Is like we got up, we just kind of not feeling it, kind of like dragging a little bit, blah blah blah, this, that, and the third. But that song, it just brought it out. It takes your focus off of like what you're, and it puts it back to Christ. We have to deal with this thing that we live in called this flesh, and the emotions that come with it, and the pains and the hurts that come with it, the ups and downs, and all of the things that are different about it. At the end of the day, I believe that the Lord just will have us to say, but through it all, through it all, trust me. In the pains and the losses, in the ups and downs, the win, the loses. At the end of the day, whatever we have all encountered, endured, gone through, facing, even because some people are facing it now with their father, and um, he's saying, trust me with the process, trust me with the outcome. You know, um, look to me, because the thing that I gathered is I was able to see more clearly through the eyes of Christ, that place of grace, that place of mercy. Because right now, if I sat in my flesh, I could still be mad at him. I could still be mad at him for the things that he has done. I could still be, and law, by law, would be justified. But when you look, not, and I'm gonna say for fathers because it's Father's Day, but when you look at people through the eyes of Christ, it puts you, yeah, it puts you in a place of mercy. It puts you in a place of grace. It makes you just say, take my foot off the gas, because I was about to run him over, but take my foot off the gas. I got two people, Mother Jackie first, and then I'm gonna talk to my sis.
So many things that we have spoken about. I mean, the good things. I remember so many good things about my father. But when Pat and Tammy were talking, I just remembered those days because when he was up and about, he was about it. One of my brothers-in-law hit my sister one time, and he said, "Baby, all you gotta do is let me know." He said, "I have him taken out for $5,
Oh, there you go.
$5, and I have him taken out." And he was quite serious. Yeah, he was quite serious.
Yeah.
But as he got older and everything, he was so loved. I mean, he was a politician type guy. I mean, a long time ago, these politicians today, they just pass out cards. You see him on TV. He went door to door. He was for Mayor Daley in Chicago.
Wow.
And when he passed, the people that came out, politicians, someone from the mayor's office, I mean, just so many people. But that night at the hospital when he passed away, before he passed, I was going to a Christmas party for the job, and they said he passed. We found out he had passed. He had had some kind of aneurysm,
Uh,
and when they did the test, uh, he when he came home, he just cried and cried and cried. He said, "Oh, they hurt me so bad. They hurt me so bad," because this is in his days where he was starting to not remember as much. And when it was time to go back, and it had to be maybe a month, he had to go back for a checkup.
yeah.
He was so afraid. He cried. He was just like a baby. And those are the days he would forget to. He wouldn't even eat unless you said, "Come on, Daddy, eat." He said, "Oh, oh, okay." Don't ask him is he hungry because he was never hungry.
Right.
But you just had to put his food out and say, "Come and eat." The only thing he would ask you for was ice cream and 7 Up.
Hey,
That's what he liked.
that's a good memory right there.
But I remember when he passed, I came out of that room and I just cried, and I went to the window in the hall, and I just, those windows in the hospitals are really thick. And I just beat that window and I just asked God, why? Why did you take him away? I said, I know he was like a kid, he would just sit all day, he'd read, he'd want some ice cream and things like that, but just to remember. And I hadn't thought about those things until we were just talking. But and finally, my oldest daughter, she's never met her biological father. She met the man that I had married, and I think she was 11 months old when we got married, and she always called him dad. And she was one of the first ones that sat on that bed with my husband, and he was the first one to say, "I love you, Tanisha." He just whispered it. He loved her, and she loved him. And I think about those times, and she's never met her biological father, but she does know. And sometime I think I'll see her next month when we go to a family reunion. And I think I'll talk to her about that. But I was just looking up here, and that little bitty words up there says, he calls me daughter. Because I used to feel so bad about myself all the time. I had that low self esteem. But I remember when I first heard that, I like wanted to lay on the floor and cry. He calls me daughter. And I remember that.
Important for us to hear that from our fathers, and I have to say, regardless of what my dad was, I remember him and multiple times telling me he loved me, and so I know it was there, and I think that sometimes when you're just angry and mad about the other stuff, that's why I'll caution us as well to keep our children out of our husband and wife stuff. Don't let your children develop an ideal about their father based off of your experience with him as a husband. And see, we didn't have that liberty. We were brought into things that we shouldn't have been brought in, picking sides because we don't you don't want to see your mama crying, but that was not our business. It should have been between them, and let me have my daddy. Yeah, come on.
prophetess, you know that I don't do nothing but talk.
And
I don't do the talking. But it is I was looking at a picture of my dad. My dad was the one with the big afro. He never changed. It was a
oh,
big afro. Um, like I said, I'm the youngest of five, and I didn't remember a lot. Like y'all was saying about seeing him in the coffin, I don't remember that at all. I do remember how when I was in school, um, it was a teacher that really didn't like me. So when I found out that my dad passed, she gave my brother a hard time to get me out of school to be with him. And by the time I got to the house, they already pronounced my dad dead. Um, I remember sitting on the curve watching my brother, um, I guess in a rage because they had just got in an argument that day before. And he never went back to apologize to my dad. So it's a lot of things that my sisters and my brother kind of like helped me to remember a lot of things. Um, I do remember how my dad, because it was three girls, my dad was something about his girls. We got away with murder. I think I got away with murder the most.
being a baby and a girl.
Yes, because all I got to do is get the eyes, you know, and make sure his slippers are there when he come up to the door. Because my dad was a truck driver for Sears, so when he came in, he had these keys, which somebody at the church it kind of like triggered because my dad had keys on his belt buckle. So when he's walking, you hear the keys, you know, and my dog Girly and me will be right at the door. So when my dad came in, he had his slippers, and you know, of course, my mom, she was the greatest. So it's like just the remembering of the different things. So me and Bernard had a conversation about, I guess, the way I was raised and how he was raised, and my sister-in-law would attest to it. The stuff that they told me, you wouldn't have known if you wasn't in their life. Because when I came in, I was baby girl. Um, to them, I didn't do wrong. Grandma, uncle, daddy, I didn't do wrong. You know, stuff that we weren't supposed to be doing. Got caught. Things in the area.
That ain't her.
But, you know, her father was the sweetest man that I've ever known. But for what they went through, it's just I can't believe it, that type thing. But you know, everybody has their own lifestyle and situations, you know, in their life. And we was talking about how us daughters, how we treat our fathers. And I'm one that if I can have one day with I don't know what I would do. I think I'd be sitting in his lap like I always did when I was small and braid his hair and just watch him try to comb it out when he's late for work. And holler. That was the funniest thing to me. But he tells me, he said, don't, I forgot how Bernard said it, but he said, she will realize when I'm gone what she missed out on. And the more I keep on telling her, you have a father that would do anything in his heart. He would just drop everything for you, but for you to treat him the way you do, I just want to get her and grab her by her neck. But he told me, he said, let God handle it. But it's like, why anybody want to treat their father like trash when they're there for them? I mean, I just don't understand. And it's like the more you talk, the more it seems like it clogs in the ear that you don't want to hear it. But I don't want to have it to the point that you have to look at a casket with your father in it for you to realize who you had. And I text my brother. He goes through a hard time on Father's Day because of him not being able to forgive. But I told him, I said, you all is forgiven. My dad, he was just gonna be tough on you because he wanted you to be a good man. So when he does leave, you could carry on the what you call it, uh the legacy. Thank you. And like I said, I really forgot it. I knew it, I heard it saying it's Father's Day, but just one day, if I could have it, that would be so cherished.
I think we all would take advantage of it. And sometimes we have to understand relationships with fathers can be different from child to child. Um, what you had with your father could be totally different from what someone else in the family have with their father. Because I look like my father's mother, which is what he was gravitated to. He wanted me near him. He wanted me around him, and I reminded him, especially once she passed on, like he wanted to see me. And so that relationship with he and I was different from him and my other sisters or my other brothers. It's different from child to child. So hopefully people will get to a place where they cherish the good that they have with their fathers. I think is what my point is today. Um, and I think I was on this part with parents, mothers. Please be very, very careful. I understand there's circumstances and situations that we have to protect our children from. Don't get it twisted. I got that. But your marriage or whatever your relationship is with the father, let it be a separate thing than what it is with you, them and their children. Um, Make sure that it's not clouded by your experience with him. Because my father, he was a much better father than he was a husband. I remember the days of him speaking. He loved us. Spoke. I remember his hugs. His hugs was always like you had to come between his leg and you just pull you in. And I think I only had one spanking from this man, and I had to go prepare for it. Like, go get ready. I'm gonna spank you. Go get ready. I'm gonna spank. Yeah, let's pad this thing up. And it was just oh my goodness, I don't even know if I call it a whipping. It's just I can, yeah, I don't even know if I call it whipping, but it hurt him, I think, to do it. He wasn't a disciplinary. He didn't have to really. He just say what he was gonna say and be done. But as we got older, and I think we saw the crack in the armor, that he had a bigger bark than he had a bite. I think we started to take advantage of that. And the fact that he had regrets, we took advantage of that. And we tried to put onto him the hurt that I did. I'm going to say that. Because I did have sisters and brothers who I think came around a lot sooner than I did and was okay with him. And it took me a little bit to do it because I took on the protective role of my mother and became a sounding board for her, which created in me situations and anger and stuff like that. So be careful in that area. Don't let your relationship with your spouse or ex-spouse or whatever cloud your your mind in letting your children have their own interpretation of their father, so to speak. Yes. And in the exception of, because we got some out there, some work. And so you have to protect your children from people who got some stuff going on. And
Okay, when you say that, how do you, I say my, as far as my daughter, how do you tell your daughter now that all of a sudden now they want to be relevant in their life? And they want to just they want to buy and buy and buy and give gifts. And I'm being asked why? Why are they wanting to do this now? I'm in my 40s.
Because like I said, they, like we do, they get to a point where they recognize I missed it. Like my dad got up after, neglecting us as far as having his presence, and then when we got older, the love for us, he had regret. I this is my child. I love him, and so his thing was, I'll do whatever I can need to do to have them. So that's what that can be. That can very well be. I have, because this is the thing about us as humans. We all have to sit with God for a moment. We all have to sit, and that little reel that go on in your head that
Mhm.
you forced to see your life and where you have been and what you have done, and the mistakes that you've made. Well, we all have to watch that.
Because I know she asked the question was,
That's the question.
could it been because when my sister passed that now he
Could
wants to
be.
do this now,
Could be. He's
but
had that loss now.
yeah,
Now he knows the hurt that, like, I got to get it in now because this one caught me off guard.
yeah, hmm
I wasn't expecting this. But
hmm
now I'm not about to feel this twice.
yeah,
Can
yeah,
I'm gonna get my time in now.
and for T's side of it, um, just from a daughter to daughter point of view, right? We, I had to accept that the picture that I painted as to how my dad and I need to make amends may or may not happen in that way.
hmm
And so, whatever I had to find out, like I think I told you guys last time about the bracelet, and there were things after the fact that he was trying to do to make right. He just wasn't healthy enough to get to that place. But sometimes we daughters have in our mind what we want that apology to look like, and because this, the phrase of men are from Venus, women are from Mars, whatever, it's just not going to be that way. And so my advice to you, to her, is allow that door to be open however he's trying to get in that door, regardless of the reason why.
hmm
From daughter to daughter, you don't want it. I don't want her to have what I had to have with my daddy. I
And
had
that's
to
what I
make
told her.
peace
Yeah,
with my daddy in a casket.
yeah,
And that is something that I wouldn't wish on anybody.
yeah.
So we can't focus on the whys, and the door's open. Even if he's trying to buy his way to get in it,
hmm
there will come a time where they can have that conversation, because he's probably just looking for a way in,
hmm
And men sometimes they don't know unless they buying something that way in. They do it to their daughters, they do it to us girlfriends, husbands, wives, children. They that's what they do. Uh uh Daddy here, he does it. His way in is what you want. You need some gas, you need, Ferris Senior, same thing. They don't know no better.
From
But
Mars.
oh, right. So that's what I would just, like my mom did for us, with that door open, she encouraged us. Although we didn't always do what she asked, me and my brother both regret that. She always encouraged us to, however that door is open, just allow it. Be a good daughter, be a good son. So yeah, just
And I did. I told her. I said, even though that happened before, that's gone. I said, but a door is open now. And I said, and so allow to happen what's going to happen. But her thing is now, but if I open it too far, I'm scared that it's going to happen again.
the one thing my mom
So,
taught us was know what you love in.
yeah.
Once you know what you love, then you really can kick yourself in the butt if you try to. It goes to know what you love, snake in the box, all those are the same things,
hmm
right?
hmm
So to teach, just know what you love.
If he's funny acting, don't go in there
Don't
thinking that he's
Yeah.
not funny acting. Just go in there and
If
say, "Girl, I
if
love him because he funny acting
if
now." I'm
he's
just
only
that's
going to be there for a short amount of time,
yeah.
well, I'm appreciative of the short amount of time we got till.
And
I
when
tell
you
my
see it
uncle that,
coming,
right.
say, "Oh, here you go. Let me
I
go."
tell my uncle all the time. I see my uncle every 8 to 10 years. I don't expect nothing. When he get on the call, Uncle Eric, I'm gonna blast him. When he get on the call, he'll say, "Well, Nikki, I need to see you." Well, it ain't been 10 years yet, so know what you love.
Yeah,
And
so
then that will help you with your feelings as well. When you
yeah,
know what you love, then when you see what is going to happen, it doesn't knock you off guard.
yeah.
It doesn't. In other words, don't build expectations that will cause you to fall.
That
Like
she doesn't
no,
because
that's what I'm
she
saying.
still has that
Let her.
guard.
If she
Yeah,
know he could be funny acting, get 2 good months and then 3 not so good and then two
yeah.
good. Enjoy those 2. When the
That's
3
right.
come, ride it through, and then get the next 2.
Yeah.
So
So I
you
would
know
tell
what
her
you
in so many
love.
words. I would be like,
Yeah, don't have to win the
just
argument. I learned that
yeah.
you don't have to win the argument. Sometimes just a great gracious bow out is good. Yeah, okay. Well, I love you. See you in 2 months.
You kind of took what I was going to come out and say is the best advice that you guys gave me when we talked the last time was take the expectations off. Because right after that, I got, it was Cole's birthday. And so it was like, oh my gosh, I forgot the birthday. And I'm like, well, any other day you like black. And then but I had to check it because then it came with, what does she want? And I was like, okay, let me take my feelings off because, they love their grand poobah. That's what they call it, Flintstone, y'all. They love grand poobah. And so what I had to really understand was not getting in the midst of that because he may have missed it or he did miss it with my sister and I, but then he's trying to make it up with the grands, even with Jay. So he's doing those things. So what I had to do is really, once I listened and let that marinate, it was like, okay, what are the little things that he's trying to do? He started a group chat where he's sending like all of these little daddy daughter messages to me and my sister, which is something that's different. And it's reading between the lines because sitting back there listening, I was like, oh, I didn't go back and reflect on the fact that he lost his dad when he was like a baby, because his dad was murdered. And then my granddad, which was his stepdad, like that was there, but then they both ended up incarcerated. So you really don't have someone showing you the way. So all of this time, he's been trying to do what he knows best with missing out on his youth and now trying to make up for that time. So that's what I would tell T is, really taking the expectations off. Some days they're good days, some days they're bad days. And like Nikki said, I've learned, and Mom said, I've learned to just ride the wave. If I hear from him and he's sending me pictures of all the food he cooking, we gonna ride that wave. But then if he goes ghost for a week or two, I know that he'll pop back up. So I'm just learning how to, one, accept that as a daughter, but then two, making sure that I uphold my end because he is trying to have a relationship with his grandkids. So
And that goes back to my thought, which we're gonna, which is when you have grown, especially in grace, you learn to give grace. I wasn't the best mother, and so if you see effort in their father, give them grace. Give him grace because if I hold him hostage to what he used to be, then now the Lord holds me hostage to what I. And I ain't trying to be held hostage there, y'all, because that's an automatic ticket to Hades. So I'm free indeed. So I would say, like, instead of letting the reminder constantly be, well, what he used to be, uh, allow what he is now, what he's trying to do now. That's why grandparents do it better than they did as parents. We have grown in grace and wisdom. We know now. Now we have patience. Like they say, well, I ain't had no patience then. I was trying. Look, I was trying to make it through, and I didn't know where the next this or that was coming from, and I was edgy and on on pins and needles, and life was lifing, and that's it. So I was trying to get through, and then on top of that, I didn't have a lot of support with my rearing of kids. So my patience was very short. But now I have the patience now. I've grown in grace, and that's why we're better at grandparenting than we were at parenting. We are. We're better at that. And we're trying to teach the parents, but they on edge. So we just rescue them. We go and get them.
um, but just think about it. Even when you, because what it is like you said, there's a guard up, and we hate to put our guard down. But I like to look at it as God is not going to allow anything beyond what He can soothe, what He can repair. So if you are just taking God's hand through the situation, it's it's okay. It's okay. Like He's going to lead you, guide you, and if you happen to get hurt, He's the one that can repair. Like it's not nothing beyond what He can repair. Yeah.
Anyone else got? Cause we about to close this session. Um, this is our last on the fathers that I know of. I mean, I'm not gonna tell the father what he's not gonna be able to do, but as far as I'm concerned, this is the man. You want it more? Oh, say it again. Tell me. I ain't hear it yet. You got to tell me what you said.
Okay, never mind. Never mind. Go ahead.
She's so funny, y'all. I had to let her have it. And we didn't watch any of the video. I would advise you all, just for the sake of, uh, uh, let me just say this. This video, and I'm encouraging you to watch it, is because you don't know what's pent up till you open the gate. Like you don't know what may be there until you actually are, you know, faced with what may. Sometimes things come up, they've been buried, they've been dormant. It was your survival place and it never got unpacked. So I would advise you all to, if you, why you, because I didn't really see the video a lot. I mostly just listened to it. So if you got some listening time, put your pods in and just listen to this video and just allow yourself to hear these women, and you may find that you connected in some way to their story, because unfortunately and fortunately, good, the bad, and the indifference of father relationship in the earth is also formulated to father and daughter's relationship to our heavenly father. It does, it matters how the man on this earth treated you or you perceived him. It has a direct connection to your father in heaven. And so there may be a place where that this may be a blockage that needed to be moved and you didn't realize it. So that being said, Father, we thank you for this time that we've spent just bearing our hearts and sharing from woman to woman, breastplate to breastplate, just giving what's deep in our heart to you, sharing with our sisters, bearing one another's burdens, receiving one another's testimonies, creating places of prayer for one another. We thank you for the words that have been spoken. I know that you guard them, Lord. And so we ask you to continue to do the healing, the work in each and every one of us. Continue to allow us to go through our souvenir boxes and appreciate what we have gathered. And for those who have opportunity to even gather more souvenirs, because the time will come when we'll need them. We forever give you praise and honor and glory, and thank you for being our Father. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.